What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So as y'all know, I have been going over different Need for Speed games and what made them special, talking about Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, talking about Payback 2015, also going over the Crew 2 and stuff like that as well, which I will be doing a video on that game. Do stay tuned for that. But for this video, though, I do want to talk about Burnout Paradise Remastered. Now, the funny part for me, though, is I never really got a chance to play Burnout Paradise back when this game did end up releasing in 2008. I mean, heck, I even made a video playing this game in 2024, guys. I've really been getting sucked into it, and now I'm also playing it again, trying to complete more stuff on the story part of it, or, trying to get the license stuff done, getting other vehicles unlocked. I've been having such a great time in this game, and part of that also comes down to the fact of probably the gameplay aspect of it, because I feel like it's so dang chaotic and so entertaining. And for me, that was probably something that did end up capturing the special part of Burnout Paradise, was the fact that it was just so dang entertaining to play it. Like, yeah, you're not going to have crazy customization on vehicles, or you can't do anything to them. Yeah, all the cars are not going to be real in it, but it's Burnout, man. Like, you're not expecting the cars to be real. Basically, none of the games had real vehicles. I did mention this in the video in 2024 when I talked about the game. I would say probably one of my favorite Burnouts was Burnout Revenge back on the PlayStation 2. I loved it. Easily one of my favorite games. So when I saw that Paradise Remastered was on the PS5, I'm like, alright, you know what? Let's jump into this game and give it a shot. I've never played it, never had a chance to play it back in '08 or back then. I think it was on the PS3, I believe it was, and also the Xbox. I never got to play it though. Seeing this game was remastered, which is kind of funny because, basically, none of those games were remastered besides this one. Also, when it comes to Need for Speed, only Hot Pursuit was, when everybody wants the old games, even though this one was from '08. Ain't that kind of interesting? But for this game to be remastered, that must tell you something. I do admit the graphics on this game being remastered, guys, it looks pretty dang great. Something I also really did like about it, like it is really going to hold up insanely well. It's kind of crazy because when you are playing the remastered version of it, you're like, this game is really from '08, man. Like, I do understand the graphics were changed a bit for the next gen. I think it was obviously on PS4 and all that. Now playing it on PS5, yeah, it is going to look a lot better than what it did back then, or at least, they probably went around the edges and made things look better. But I really do feel like the overall gameplay of this really is going to be the craziest part of it. For me, going fast, pretty much crashing into other racers, jumping into events, you're seeing some other racers going quicker than you, so you speed up, run into them, crash them into a wall. Like, yeah, there's going to be the animation of Burnout. Not sure how people are going to feel about the animation of crashing in this game, but I have been seeing mixed opinions on that in Most Wanted 2012, which I will be talking about that game, because I feel like that's also going to have some special aspects to it. And I can definitely see some things from Burnout being in 2012 after playing both of them, which I will talk a little bit about that when I do the video on Most Wanted 2012. But the thing is, in Burnout, though, this is probably going to be the fun, chaotic racer that you basically jump into and nothing really matters in it. Like, you have to race in the events. And yeah, the objective is to legitimately crash the other racers and win it. The other part of it, we're also going to have the time trials, which I did not even realize at first, that you can legit pick the other vehicles in the main game itself, go to them, and unlock better versions of those cars. I feel like that was pretty dope. I would love to see other games do something like that, guys. Like, imagine other racing games, for example. Like, yeah, you're going to unlock something like a Corvette. What if you were to do a challenge in that Corvette, whether it's going to be time trials, races, certain objectives, and you unlock another car that's going to be better than that one, or an upgraded version of that vehicle? That could seriously work, man, for like an entire progression standpoint, instead of having everything tied to a different way, which we see in a lot of games nowadays. And we're also then going to have something called the Markman and the Takedown events alongside of the races and the time trials around the map. So for example, on the Marked Man, you're basically going to be in a time trial type of event, or you're pretty much going to have to survive and get to the other part of the map without them destroying you. There is going to be like a bunch of unmarked cars basically trying to wreck you. Probably using a car that has more strength is going to be good here, which I found out the hard way. I was using one of these smaller race cars. I was trying to do it. I basically got hit once, I crashed, and I wrecked again. And then I obviously did end up failing because one of the cars hit me or something. So I would recommend maybe a stronger vehicle, or the other side of it is, well, most likely don't crash or something. might end up helping a bit, or don't let them hit you. But I would say the marked man are probably going to be pretty dang entertaining. And the funny part is, the more you play through the game, the harder it does end up getting. Who would have thought? So yeah, the races are going to become a tad more difficult. The marked man gets more harder. We're also then going to have the takedown events for that. Well, it is literally in the name. You basically have to take down the other racers or the other cars that spawn in, and you have to get like a certain amount of takedowns. When you start, it's like 3, then goes to 5, 7. I think I'm at 9 or something like that right now. It'll probably go higher, but it is going to have a time limit on it. Every time you wreck a few of them, it goes up a bit. It is going to be pretty dang entertaining. Some cars are harder to take down. You're also then going to learn how to wreck some of them easier, which I think could help in the events. Like, you're going to be like, okay, so if I nitrous into this car a bit, hit that side of the rear bumper, it will crash into the wall there. And when you're then doing a race or something, or even a marked man event, then yeah, you can also wreck them easier. Again, going to be a fun, chaotic game mode in here, which is going to fit Burnout basically to a T. The other thing I did want to talk about that ties into pretty much every event in the game is going to be the races and how they are designed on the map itself. Now, I would say, guys, right off the bat, I do like the Paradise map. I think it's great. Really fits the game really well. I mean, you're pretty much going to have faster roads in it. A lot of turns. There's traffic everywhere. There's shortcuts everywhere. There's jumps taking you over highways and different things, or like a bridge, which is going to be part of the new island. You also have like off-road shortcuts and stuff, which funnily enough do end up helping you in the events. Like, you can get around it quicker, which is also going to help you on the other part of the map I did want to talk about. When you are doing a race, you basically start on one side. It's going to have like the light thing. Then you have to drive to the other side. There's no checkpoints on these. There is going to be circuit races or type of events with checkpoints, but a lot of the events you will end up encountering will not end up having checkpoints. You pretty much spawn there and it says, okay, we'll drive here to there as fast as you can. And yes, some of them will have races, like the main events have AI in them, and you will have to beat them to that objective. My favorite part about it is it will basically end up allowing you to find the fastest route to the objective. You can use any part of the map, and you could pretty much go, okay, so all the AI are going that way, I'm going to go left here, take this all the way down to that road, and then follow that all the way there. It's going to be quicker. It is also going to make it a lot more fun because you can take different turns and still get to the objective itself once you do end up learning the map. That was probably one of my favorite things about playing Burnout Paradise, was the fact that you could pretty much learn the map, learn the roads, learn the shortcuts, learn the jumps as well, and you will end up getting to that said race, or at least beating it even quicker. The last thing I did want to talk about, which I definitely could not leave out, that also made Burnout Paradise Remastered, or at least Burnout Paradise in general, feel a lot more special, was going to be the crazy and goofy cars you could drive in this game. You are going to have like the regular race cars. You got like the muscle looking cars. You're also then going to have like a hot rod or something with unlimited nitrous on it, which from there you're then going to have a car that will basically end up turning into the Deluxo from Grand Theft Auto, to where you pretty much can drive it like a regular vehicle, or you can then pretty much make the car hover, which also makes it insanely quick. Yeah, it's not going to turn that well because it is hovering, but it's so dang entertaining to run it. On top of that, you'll then end up having something like the toy cars, which is literally going to be a shrunken version of the other vehicles in the game, and I do admit they are hilariously fun to be running them. You can use them in races, the takedown events, and yeah, other racers are also going to be using them, which really does look funny crashing into other tiny cars like that. It legit reminds me of those really funny shrunken videos that you'd see on like Instagram or something, of like a Porsche or Lamborghini or something like that. Really is hilarious. And we also cannot forget, guys, there is going to be motorcycles in this game, and yes, I really did find them to be so dang fun to use as well. Now, as far as I do know with the motorcycles, I don't think they're going to have nitrous on them. At least I haven't noticed it yet, and I would probably say that's going to be a good idea because the bikes are incredibly quick, and you're also pretty much going to crash immediately if you're going really fast on that, which, you know, who would have thought that would have been a thing? You're obviously going to crash in a car, but also on a bike for that matter. But the bike, though, if you barely touch something, or you pretty much like hit a car or something, normally in a car you might be okay. On a bike, though, you are most likely going to trigger the crash animation. But even then, though, the motorcycles are so well designed. In fact, I was laughing about this. In Need for Speed Unbound, we did end up getting the BMW added to it, and everybody has been talking about how great the bike handles, how good, and how fun it's going to be in the game. And I feel like the next Need for Speed game really could have something with motorcycles in them. That is then going to bring me back to Burnout Paradise, though, because they nailed the bike handling even back then in this game, man. Like, it really is that great. I would say a lot of players, I would also recommend it, guys. Try the bike out. As far as I do know, I also think it's only going to be time trial based with the bikes. Not 100% sure on that, but I've done a good amount of the events. I have not seen other bike AI in those. I think it's just like time trials, but the bikes are going to be so dang fast. They're also going to handle great, and it's not even going to be an actual type of thing you'd see in a game like this. It is going to be Burnout, but yet we have crazy toy cars. We're going to have police cars, legendary cars that can float. We're going to have unlimited nitrous hot rods. We got motorcycles, which will all end up being a great variety of different vehicles and also different options you can end up running, whether you're crashing out different racers or doing the takedown events. Really is going to be a lot to offer in Burnout Paradise. This is also why I feel like it is a great game. It is really going to be special even to this point. What are we at now, like 16 plus years later playing this game? I mean, guys, it really is going to be a dime piece. Try it out if you haven't played it. I feel like a lot of players would end up loving Burnout Paradise. It really is that fun. I also think the game is fairly cheap on PlayStation and Xbox, so I feel like it's also going to be worth it in that aspect. And I feel like players who would end up playing this would end up jumping in, seeing the chaotic nature of it, and most likely have such a great time in it. Do let me know what y'all think about Burnout Paradise in the comments below. What do you guys think the biggest highlights are that made this game special even to this day here in 2025?